It's Timothy Malcolm with a Record News Watch update. And if you were following this past weekend, what a great weekend for high school football. I'm standing here with Kevin Gleason, sports editor for the Times-Herald Record, recordonline.com, and varsity845.com. 4 for 4 we went this weekend. 5 teams are moving on in the state semifinals. All of our Section 9 champions are still in the game. Are you surprised that it was such a successful weekend for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've never had, for one thing. It's so that in itself lends itself to surprise. I mean, the fact that a couple of the teams had to come back and win, in late in the game too, was quite impressive. So yeah, I mean, surprising, and it's really thrilling for the section to be sending 5 people, because there's a great mass audience with high school football, yeah. And when you send that many teams, I think people who aren't even affiliated with the schools kind of wrap themselves around some of these teams.
Sure, and it seemed like Cornwall, who was kind of just burying teams this year. They kind of pulled it out of nowhere against Rye. What was that like for them? I mean, you have to have been shocked that Cornwall went down to the very end there.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they faced a really good, as it turns out, a really good Rye team and really good Rye quarterback who had never been intercepted the whole year. And Cornwall came up with, I think, 3 or 4 interceptions on the kid. Yeah. And but they're down, inside of 5 minutes to go. I think they scored with like 3 minutes left to win that game. Like you said, Cornwall have been rolling over its competition all year. They'd only given up a couple touchdowns by their first teamer defense. So it was probably surprising that you kind of expected them to keep that going, even though it was against an accelerated competition. But when you reach that point in the state tournament, in the quarterfinals, you never know what you're going to get, and you're probably going to get a really good team.
Yeah, and same thing for Marlboro, who they had a really tough battle there. They weren't, it was a little bit closer. They were expected to kind of have a battle in their game.
Right. Marlboro, the thing about Marlboro is, we've learned over the years with Marlboro is they're never out of the game. They always, it's almost become a bit of a stereotype to call the old gritty Marlboro kid, because that's what we've labeled them so often, because they are. They're usually this really tough-minded group of kids, really always well-coached, and sure enough, they pulled another one out.
Yeah, and so coming up this weekend, they're all playing at Dietz Stadium, all playing in the semifinals. If they win, they go to the Carrier Dome. Newburgh Free Academy gets into the mix now.
Sure.
They had a bye. What do you think is going to happen here? Are you going to see all 5 move on, or who's the best bet, really?
Well, it's a great question, because I can tell you the most difficult challenge is going to be Marlboro. They're facing this team called Chalmont up in Schenectady. That they lost to 66-0 in this round last year.
Oh.
And it just, I watched the game, and I don't think I've ever seen a high school team at that level do things so well. The Chalmont team, it was just unbelievable. They had this offense that was really hard to figure out, and they just rolled on Marlboro. I felt for Marlboro, because, they just had no answers for this team. And so they have a rematch against Chalmont, which should be a real tough spot again for Marlboro. But it's part of it is these Marlboro kids believing that they can compete with Chalmont, which it sounds like they have that belief that they can. So that'll be interesting to watch. That's going to be the most difficult Section 9 team facing an opponent in the state semis. Newburgh, they're facing Shenendehowa out of Clifton Park, which is a traditional power up in the Albany area. And it's really hard to say what Newburgh's going to run into there. Shenendehowa is very good. It's a very good football area up there. But Newburgh's coming off a week off, so we don't really know if that will have any effect for Newburgh. So that'll be interesting as well.
But the great thing about this week is they're all playing in Kingston, so that's sort of a home field advantage for all of them. Even Chester, who's a little bit farther off, still doesn't have to go that far. Yeah. So this is a really good opportunity for the schools to bring all their boosters. The fans come out, the families. It's going to be a really rowdy atmosphere, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And all those schools have pretty good followings. Newburgh, which isn't always known to travel heavily, are right around the corner, basically. And they always have a good contingent up there. Cornwall has a great fan base. Chester's pretty lively. They're all really lively fan bases. And like you say, they don't have really long drives to get up there, so it's always a great atmosphere. The state semis are fabulous. You're one win away from the Carrier Dome, and all the kids, that's all they talk about, and that's all they dream about in high school football, is getting to the Carrier Dome.
Well, we can't wait to watch it happen this weekend. Of course, you'll be there covering, Justin will be there covering. It'll be a really great weekend. Thank you very much, Kevin, for coming on. Again, this is Timothy Malcolm with a Record News Watch update. Okay, football this weekend, it's a big one. We'll be having a lot more on the football games this weekend throughout the week at recordonline.com. Again, Timothy Malcolm for Record News Watch.